It is now time for our feature presentation. Spoiler warnings.
It's time for our second movie review of the night, 2013's Rigor Mortis.
What'd you call me?
No, I said Rigor Mortis. Rigor, R-I-G-O-R.
Oh.
僵屍都冇撚晒啊！
老爺，你唔好抌低我啊！
你話做我哋呢行，有邊個有好結果啊？
Alright, gang, we're going to review 2013's Rigor Mortis. Dwayne, your thoughts?
I had heard a little bit about this movie, and when I started watching it, I was kind of waiting to see what I heard about, and not to give away too many spoilers and stuff.
But we will.
We will.
Yeah.
Not right off the top.
Yeah.
But when I finally saw, what the movie was about, I liked it. I didn't think it was a great movie, but everybody's got different opinions. I thought there was a whole lot going on. It was kind of convoluted.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I could have. I came close. It is hard to follow.
Yes.
You cannot look away at this movie because there are so many plot threads that are going around in the beginning. There's probably the first half of the movie. There's 4 different plot threads going around, and then they all do intertwine when we get to the halfway point. Unlike you, I went into all 3 of the movies today. I went into all 3 blind. I think I knew a little bit more about Dr. Lamb than I did the others, and that was still very little. This one just looked cool. I went into this one thinking I might hate it, but it was definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So a little bit about the movie. Movie star is about a guy who is a famous actor, or once famous actor. We're not really entirely sure how his acting career is going, but he definitely was making movies at some point. He moves into a new apartment complex and instantly tries to hang himself. Why go through the process of getting an apartment if that's what you know? I don't know. You can do that at a hotel, or because I feel like getting an apartment is a lot of paperwork to do. you know, to do all that shit. Anyway, that might just be me being extra nitpicky today. But luckily, his neighbors come to save the day, and as he's like fixing to die, like two twin ghost girls come out, and they have a kung fu scene. So there's like, that's one thing I wasn't expecting, was like kung fu ghost and then like kung fu neighbors. Luckily, you know, it's just a little weird. There's kung fu ghosts in this movie. Like, there's just a lot to unpack in this movie, right? So there's the twin ghost girls. Like, one of the girls was like raped by this dude, and like her twin comes and stabs the guy to death, but somehow stabbed herself.
Yeah.
How?
The guy moved or something. They just said she killed herself by accident too.
That was stupid. Like, I don't know how you do that, or maybe it was like the adrenaline and she just was going ham. And then the other sister killed herself once her sister died, and they killed the man as well. And now they're like evil twin ghost girls, which were creepy. And that's one thing this movie does have. The movie was shot beautifully.
Yes.
The acting was amazing, and the creepy atmosphere was there. And I'll give movie points, you know, even if it wasn't like a great film, if it has a good atmosphere, if the acting's great, you know, those are extra points. Also give extra points for fun. This movie was not fun, but it was still a good movie. You know, it is very, like, Rigor Mortis was very dark. This one was dark, but without the goofy slapstick in the middle. You know, this is a depressing movie. And if you are like suffering from like really bad depression, I'd skip. I would skip for sure. You know, but I kind of thought the movie was very beautiful in a way. And at some point, we get introduced to one of the neighbors, an old lady and her husband, and her husband is hilarious. He's talking about some fat woman in the complex and calling her a dumb pig and shit. And then I guess he's taking out the trash or going to do something. And he fell down the stairs and broke his fucking neck in the most brutal fucking way possible. And he dies. And then the old lady talks to some like black magic voodoo wizard in the apartment complex, who helps her turn her husband. I thought it was like a Frankenstein thing, but apparently he turned him into a vampire. Here's another thing. If you don't know, your Chinese folklore,
Yeah.
you know, it is a little confusing. Luckily, they did say like he's turning into a vampire, or I would have never known he was supposed to be a vampire. Like, I was like, what?
Could have been a zombie.
I thought it was a zombie or Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Apparently he's a vampire. Yeah, there's also this evil wizard guy who warlock there, and then there's also another guy who's like a expert in paranormal. He's like a vampire hunter or like a paranormal.
His family's vampire hunters or something.
Yeah, he's also
used rice against them.
Yeah, he's also like he has a restaurant at the bottom of the complex. It's like supposed to be like really fucking good. Yeah, there's just a lot of characters in this movie. There's also like the lovable security guard. He's like the only one at the complex, but he's also like, I don't know, I really like the character. And then there's also this like homeless lady who has a son, and I thought she was one of the twins at first. They made it look like she was one of the twins, but because she was like traumatized by the incident, but she wasn't one of the twins. So who was she to them?
Just a lady in the apartment building.
I guess she like was a third sister, or their mother, or their friend, or just happened to walk in on it, on the hanging, because she was traumatized by the event. But I didn't understand who she was to the twins, because she wasn't there in the flashback. I was like, so who exactly was she to them? And then her boys also got white hair for some reason. This movie was out there. And the lady who's turned her husband into a vampire, I guess the process wasn't going fast enough for her taste. And she's like, hey, how can we speed this up? And then the like warlock was like, you need to get virgin blood. And then the vampire hunter led the little boy straight to her house immediately after the next scene. I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, hey, do you want to go play with the lady? He's like, yeah. And then she feeds the little boy to her vampire husband, who just slaughters the boy. And then he goes on a fucking rampage and basically kills the main character right after that. He just puts the pole through him. And then the twin girls get sucked up into him, to the Frankenstein. I don't know, it was weird. And then the main character's dying. The vampire hunter sends him to some kind of weird, what would you call it?
Purgatory, kind of?
He sends him to some kind of dimension where he can fight the vampire, but if he goes into it, he can never come back. So he's basically like, you will die after this. And in order for it to work, the vampire hunter had to put his fingers through these spears, and the thing was constantly twisting his arm. And it basically, until his arm twisted all the way off. I was like, how are you a vampire hunter, but his family did this for generations, but I don't imagine they can only hunt 2 vampires their entire life, or they'd have no limbs. I don't know, that part was confusing. Maybe he couldn't beat it because he had the Ghost Girl's power as well.
I have no idea.
That part was confusing. So they get in a big fight, and basically he had to team up with the vampire hunter, who had one arm at this point because the machine twisted his arm off. And they all kind of go, and then they tied it up, and they all flew out the window, and they all landed and died. And the old lady whose husband was the vampire, she slits her throat with a piece of glass and falls on top of them, and they both die. I was like, why not just do that from the get-go? You would have saved a lot of people a lot of pain. Anyway, and then the vampire hunter dies from blood loss, not from falling out the window, but from blood loss. And as the main character's sitting there dying, you look into his eye, and it turns out that everything was in his imagination as he was sitting there hanging himself. So the hanging, and I told Hazy, I was like, I hope this hanging is the main thing, and then everything else is in his head. And then that's what happened. He was dying. This was his body set in rigor mortis. And the people he passed by on the way to his apartment was the story he built. So everything supernatural was just in his head. And they did hint in the very beginning that he's sad, depressed over his son, who made you believe died, because there's a scene where he's sitting at a table with his son's eyes go white. And it looked like maybe him and his ex-wife's wrists were slit or something, because they had a weird glove thing. I don't know. But then the final shot of the movie, he's like there at the morgue table, and his son comes in as an adult to come identify the body. I was like, so why did he kill himself? Why did he... That's... If they would have just ended it with all them dying on the ground after the battle, it would have got a higher score for me. But the last 2-3 minutes of his body was set in rigor mortis and the other thing was in his head, it dropped it down for me, Dwayne. Dwayne, your thoughts?
So, I had heard this movie was like a vampire movie,
Yeah.
and I was looking forward because I like vampires and stuff. And then I was watching it. It's very convoluted. Sean, you talked about all the plot lines and stuff. If they streamlined it a little bit, it could be a better movie.
Yeah.
Now, it is beautifully shot.
Yes.
The actors, you believe what they're saying and doing.
Dude, they were great.
The ghosts is freaky. The
Yeah.
vampire, the costume they put him in with the mask,
Yeah.
it's freaky. This is a very well, and I'm giving it points for that. It's a very well made movie. The problem with it is the story, it goes nowhere. It's 1 minute you've got ghosts, and the next minute you've got some wizard who's dying of lung cancer. Then you've got a man who dies falling down the steps. Then you find out he didn't actually die falling the steps. The wizard kills him.
Yeah, he threw him down more steps.
Down more steps. Then they bring him back, like I said, he's come back as a zombie, they
Well-
come back as Frankenstein, but they bring him back as a vampire.
Why did he kill him?
to make a vampire, I guess.
I just wanted to do it.
Yeah. Well, he was talking about, what I got out of it was, he was trying to capture the girl ghosts to make the body stronger. And then he was trying to get into that vampire body because his body was dying.
Oh, okay.
So he's trying to make like a super body out of ghosts and a vampire for him because he's dying of cancer. But at like 1 second, the main character is hanging himself, and then the neighbor comes in and he's like uses super speed and kung fu to save the guy.
From the ghost girls.
From the ghost girls.
Because when the guy hung himself, the 2 ghost girls came out, or at least one of them did. And then like he kung fu'd them. They took over the guy who hung himself, the main character. They took over his body, so then the neighbor had to fight him kung fu style to beat the ghost out of him. If you like kung fu and horror movies, this one might be for you. If you're depressed, not for you.
So we go through all that, and like you said, at the end, the one guy, which made me think about being purgatory or dream the whole time, is as the one character is making lunch for everybody, they're talking about, we're making lunch for so-and-so, but she died years ago.
Yeah.
He said, we'll still make it, and then like some person grabs that food. So I'm thinking maybe there's ghosts involved, more ghosts. He's in purgatory waiting to go to heaven or hell or whatever. And he's talking to all these other people who are waiting too. And then, I don't know, I texted you about that. Was it purgatory or what was going on? Was it a dream? And come to find out, the movie is a dream. It's what's happening in his head as he's dying. And I think they wasted so much plot on all these other characters when it could have been more streamlined and have been a better flowing movie.
Yeah.
But like I said, with some of the other movies, they had to add all this extra stuff in it to reach it for an hour and a half to hour and 20 minutes.
You know what would be funny if it had his last thoughts? He goes, his last thought was, "Oh wait, this would be a good movie. I should stop it." You know, like I could write, "Oh man, I should make this to a movie," and then he fucking dies. I don't know.
I kind of, when I watched this, I was comparing it to the new Hellboy movie, which I like Hellboy.
Yeah.
But in that newer movie, he's fighting the evil sorceress, and the pig guy, and Baba Yaga's in there, and he's going on a wild hunt, and this, and that. And he got 15 things that don't even go with the story that could have been out of it and made the story a lot better, a lot smoother. And this reminded me of the same thing. Did they have to go to ghosts in there? They could have done more of a vampire story without that.
Yeah.
The guy who, the wizard, did he have to be a wizard? No, he could have been a guy that knew about, ancient medicine or something.
Yeah.
But he's got to be a wizard for some reason. I mean, they added so much stuff in there that was not needed, and they overpopulated the movie, and it suffered for it.
Normally, I love character development, and this movie is good with that. You know how you feel with each character, and like, I root for this character. I hope this character dies. They are good. I do like the characters. It's just when it's all said and done, you're like, I don't know. I feel like it's maybe one ingredient too much, and I do admit the old lady whose husband died. I thought she was like the best actor in the whole movie. Like, I thought she was a great actress. Just the way she's able to, like, you know what she's thinking without her having to say it. And like, again, the acting is great. And honestly, if the movie would have ended without the little extra bit at the end, I wouldn't have really liked it.
I couldn't really get into the main character that much.
You know what?
His personality.
Yeah, of all the characters,
He was like the weakest character.
yeah.
He was. I mean, I was liking the ghost and the vampire and the wizard and the old man.
You're right.
And the wife and the lady with the kid who, even like you said, the handyman in the place.
Yeah.
The maintenance guy. You liked him.
Yeah, when he
But
died, I was sad.
the main character is like, okay, he's sad that his wife and kid aren't here no more. He tried to kill himself. Now he's trying to save. I mean, who's even trying to save in this story?
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody to save. He's just trying to fight him.
Honestly, you're right. He's the least developed character in the whole movie. And when he's like sitting there at the end at the morgue, I'm like, why? Why? Just why don't you know why he killed himself? You don't know anything about him. Like really, he's important at the very beginning, he's important at the end, but the middle, he's useless. He is useless. Honestly, if the movie was about the vampire hunter who cooked the rice, probably would have been a better movie. And
Probably could have been the main character, did a lot better.
yeah. All right, final thoughts and grade.
Final thoughts are good movie, not great, not horrible. The reason why it's good, action, great. I mean, the character, not the characters, except for the main character, the characters are good. It's shot very well, the costumes are good, the cinematography's good, the ghosts are scary, the vampire's scary. I'm going to give it a 6.
Here are my pros and cons of Rigor Mortis. Pros: great acting, great fighting, great cinematography, great directing, great writing. Cons: very bleak and depressing, hard to understand for the first half, but the second half gets better, and a bad ending. I'm giving Rigor Mortis 7 Kung Fu Ghosts out of 10.